Welcome to Beyond the Strikes, and I'm delighted to say we're joined by your new favourite fighter, Kaytlin Neil. Kaytlin, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're really good, thank you very much. And firstly, congratulations on your win against Hannah Guy at Invicta 49. Had a week to digest it. What are your thoughts on the fight?
I'm actually really proud of my performance in that fight. I finally fought to what I feel like I could always have fought to. Like I actually showed a bunch of my skills that I would do during sparring, but I would never be brave enough to throw in a fight just in case they didn't ever. So I'm really happy with the performance. I think it was a really dominant performance and it finally showed like all my skills. So I was really pumped about it.
Yeah, it was great to watch actually. It was a really exciting fight. And obviously Hannah was a contestant with you on The Ultimate Fighter, which it was just we watched it. It was such a roller coaster of a season. How would you describe your experience on the show?
I loved being on the Ultimate Fighter. I thought it was so much fun. But it was like definitely a roller coaster. The most like mentally challenging things I've ever done in my life. Especially with like my dad dying, my cat getting surgery. There were so many like outside pressures that were also like happening to me on the show. So not only was I living in a house with people I was about to fight with like no outside contact, but like also like I was going through a lot of emotional like and personal stuff as well.
Yeah, I think out of everyone, all of the fighters who were on it, I think your journey on there was the most extreme in terms of highs and lows there. And what was it like handling the reality TV side of things versus the kind of training and the fighting?
That's the part. So reality TV junkie. I love like Love Island. I love The Bachelor, Bachelor in Paradise. Like I love that kind of stuff. So it was cool to actually be on the other side on the show. And so I had no problem with like cameras in my face or like that kind of stuff. But it did add an extra element. Like you know that everything you were eating, like if you didn't make weight, they're gonna do a compilation of all the food you ate and be like, oh, this is why she didn't make weight, is because she ate every single day. Of course she's not gonna make weight. So it was just like it was just a little added pressure, but I liked that part.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think honestly the way you handled yourself throughout it was really inspirational actually. And I think there was a scene in it when where you're talking about being proud of yourself, but we were watching it going, you need to be proud of yourself and proud of what you achieved on the show. It was really inspirational to watch. And what was it like working with Amanda Nunes?
So awesome. I mean, she is so cool. Like she went above and beyond like what I expected her to be. I didn't really like feel like I connected with her before the show, like as a fighter. Like I always thought she was like an amazing fighter and I looked up to her for that. But as a person, I wasn't sure if we would like get along or click or anything. But she is actually hilarious and so funny because like a good vibe like the whole time. She made it actually like fun for us to go to practice. She made things like kept things a little bit lighter and lighthearted because she knew how like much stress was on us. So she was actually just like a good person to be around.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've actually got one of the Amanda Nunes action figures. Do you still have yours?
Of course I yeah.
It was awesome. We loved that. We thought that was such a nice touch. And yeah, it was brilliant. It was a great season to watch. It really was. I think the Juliana Miller fight you had was definitely up there as fight of the season. Do you have any particular highlight of the show that you kind of look back most fondly on?
I think it was my first fight after I beat Helen. I think nobody really expected me to. Like everybody counted me out. There, Bobby from Team Pena was like, "Yeah, we thought you were gonna get crushed." Like we thought, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, thanks for believing in me, guys." But that was like one of my best memories. Like after I won, Amanda came and grabbed me, and my coach John Wood came and grabbed me, and then Amanda's wife came in, and we were all like in a huddle. And I look up, and they were all crying, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys care about me!" And I think it was just because they knew how much like stress and pressure I was in, and my dad dying like the week before, and so I think that was like a really cool moment to share with them.
Yeah, I mean, as we say, like you should be so proud of yourself for that. It was really intense, and to be honest, watching it, she was terrifying. I definitely wouldn't want to be getting in a cage with her. So yeah, it was a really impressive performance.
Was before I went on the show. And I think if I would have watched her fights before, I would have been way more intimidated by her. So I'm kind of like glad that I went into the fight a little bit more ignorant. And so I'm like, sweet, it worked out for me, I guess.
Yeah, and to be honest, you stood with her. So for someone who she has a background in bare knuckle boxing, doesn't she? So it was impressive to stand with her.
Actually, the champ there, and then vacated the belt. So like, it's pretty
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And then going right back to the start, where did you grow up and how did you originally get into combat sports?
So I grew up in Utah, and it's a little state in the United States, and it's a very small sheltered area that I grew up in. It's a very religious area. I don't know if you've heard of Mormonism, but
Mhm.
that's grew up in. So I was very sheltered. Grew up doing like dance, gymnastics, and cheerleading, and then I went and tried out for the college cheer team, and I didn't make it. And then my friends took me to some MMA fights that same year, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. So I just found a gym and started training, and I started fighting, and I've been doing it for 10 years ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you remember who the fight was? Because I think you mentioned it. It was like the female fight on the card. Do you remember who the fighters were?
It was some local MMA fighter. I don't know her. I need to go back and look her up and like tell her like thank you for like everything what you probably had no idea that I was even watching. So it's just cool. But I need to go look at those.
Yeah, it'd be so awesome receiving that message, wouldn't it? That you kind of inspired me in kind of all of the great organizations you fought with, and you fought on the Ultimate Fighter and Invicta. It'll be such a great message to get.
I'll have to dig her up. Look, see if I can find it.
Yeah, and we love fight nicknames on this show, and Katniss is definitely one of the more unique ones. What's the story behind it?
Yeah, so my freshman year of college, my friend was reading a book, and he's like, Kaytlin, you remind me of like the main character in this book that I'm reading right now. I'm gonna start calling you Katniss. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then come to find out, the book was The Hunger Games, and that whole friend group started calling me Katniss. And then about a year later, I moved away from that friend group, and I started fighting. And then the movies came out, and I kind of looked like Jennifer Lawrence in the movie, especially like back then. It was like 10 years ago. And one of my teammates who was in the UFC, his name is Josh Berkman. He was like, Kaytlin, I just went to the Hunger Games, and you look so much like Jennifer Lawrence. I think your fight name should be Katniss. And so I'm like, well, my friends already call me Katniss, so might as well. And it's like perfect for fighting. So that's kind of how it came about.
So away from MMA, what do you spend your time doing?
I think mainly just like hanging out with friends, trying to find something that's going on in the city to do. Cause like whether it's like fall or go to a pumpkin patch or a haunted house or a theme park, just something that's like fun that I can kind of like enjoy life as well. Because when I do have a fight coming up, I kind of narrow it down to just focus on fighting. So when I don't have a fight coming up, I really like to enjoy life and like kind of like get out there, hang out, and like see what's happening, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and we're going to a pumpkin patch to get her first pumpkin for Halloween this weekend. So I'll let you know how we get on. But yeah, it should be really good.
That'll be fun. I carved a pumpkin yesterday with just my left hand, so I was really proud of myself.
Yeah, how's the hand coming? How's the hand fixing up?
Yeah, I got surgery on it about 3 days ago, but I feel fine. I feel great. Like, I feel better after I got the surgery than before it, just because it feels like things are in place and not poking around. So I mean, it's honestly not too bad. I've never broken a bone before that was like this serious, so I'm like, oh, it's not that bad.
We've enjoyed your Instagram videos of your kind of unique way of training with an injured hand. So that's been good.
Don't try that one. Don't try that at all.
So next question we have for you is a hypothetical question. And the question is, you've been booked for a talent show, but you can't showcase MMA. What would you do?
Oh gosh. That'd be really hard because I haven't done cheerleading in years. So I think I'd be a little rusty. Maybe either like stand up comedy or rapping. I'm
Wow.
probably not good. I'd have to go to.
That's awesome. So do you, you kind of, do you have a stand-up routine or a favorite joke?
No, I just like making TikTok videos. So that's kind of like my forte is just making really cringy, dumb TikTok videos. But I like it funny.
Yeah, absolutely love that. I just, you know, when you're kind of not expecting stand-up, that is a really, yeah, I like that one. Nice answer. Well, honestly, it's been a real pleasure catching up with you today. We've got a couple more questions. So first one is, what's the latest on when we can see you back in the cage?
As soon as my hand's ready, I'm ready to go. I'm coming off of a high, so I really want to keep that momentum up. So I'm hoping like probably January, February, but we'll just see how my hand goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And over the next few years, what do you want to achieve?
Yeah, my main goal is to get into the UFC and push it as far as I can go. But also, I think PFL might be doing like $1 million tournament for flyweight, so that's a little tempting. So I might do that. So, either way, I want to make it to the UFC eventually and kind of just be able to have that under my belt. Say I was a UFC fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be supporting you all the way to the UFC. You've got fans in us from London, so every time you fight, we'll be cheering you on from here. And just want to say a massive thank you so much for your time today. And yeah, we can't wait to see you back in action soon.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it, and it was fun getting to meet you.